Okay, so today covers 5, 5, 5, 7, and 5, 8. And it does not cover all three sections fully. It covers parts of all of them. And they're not even all in order or things like that. Basically, it looks confusing today because the algebra teachers together kind of decided that the way that the textbook was doing the problems was a strange order. And so we kind of rearranged it to what we thought made more logical sense. So today we are going to start with 5, 5, example 3. We did the first half of 5, 5 yesterday, and that was on midpoint. So the second half of 5, 5 is on distance formula. And distance formula is easy if you have the formula. So I'm hoping that you guys, I don't know if you're making note cards or anything like that. A lot of times a good thing to do for a math class is to have a note card of all the formulas. So the distance formula is easy to do if you have the formula. And because it's not one that's easy to remember on its own. Yeah, having the notes written down works great too. Like you can just look through your notes. Some people like to do note cards just because then it's like all the notes, all the important part of the notes is together. But just having the notes with you works too. Okay, so there's the distance formula, and that's my horrible square root symbol, but that's a square root symbol. And the example we're going to do together is to find the distance between these 2 points. Find the distance between A at -2, 3 and B to -2. And who should we start with? We should start with... trying to remember who started yesterday so that I don't start with you. Ooh, Kira. Before I forget, I think I actually started with you yesterday. Can you take that test today, like soon? Oh, perfect. I haven't looked at Schoology for a while. Okay, excellent, because then I can open it up for everybody. So once I get Kira's test corrected, then I'll open up the test from chapter 4 if you guys wanted to look at it to see what you got right or wrong. Okay, thanks. Sorry, I wasn't trying to call you out either. I thought of it off the top of my head. Olivia, can you help us start? So here's my question, Olivia. Looking at this formula that's got a bunch of stuff in it, and basically we need to know what's x2, what's x1, what's y2, what's y1, because that's the whole formula. So Olivia, I was hoping you could tell me what's what. Okay, good. 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 Perfect. Now, do know that if you decided it was the other way around, it still works. But excellent job. Okay, so here, let's fill it out. So I'm going to put in all the stuff that Olivia just told me. x2, 2, minus x1, -2 squared, plus y2, -2, minus y1 squared. And then we got work to do. So 2 minus -2 is 4 squared. -2 minus 3 is -5 squared. The whole reason for that squared is so nothing is negative. So that way, that's why I said it doesn't matter which one you decide is the first point or second point, because you won't ever get a negative answer. So -5 squared is 25. What is 16 plus 25? 36, 41. 41, that's a terrible answer. I don't know what the square root of 41 is. So you could give two answers. The distance between the points is square root of 41, or you could make it a decimal. Because when you're answering a distance, a decimal is often, what's given rather than square root of 41. Square root of 41 is the exact answer, but a lot of people would probably round it as a decimal just because it's distance. And I'm going to guess the answer is like 6.5-ish. Did anybody type it in their calculator? Gracie, I'm going to count on you. You can be our calculator person today, whether it's on your phone or laptop or whatever, I don't care. What is square root of 41, Gracie? Maybe? Nice. Oh, I was wrong. What is it? 6.4 what? Shoot. I was hoping it was going to be 6.5. I was wrong. Okay, but excellent. 6.4 would have been totally perfect answer. I didn't need to write those other numbers. So answer either one of those. And I'm assuming, do you guys know how I knew it was about 6.5? Like, I knew square root of 36 was 6. And I knew square root of 49 was 7. So 41 is pretty close to the middle of 36 and 49. Okay, good. We do have enough notes today that I'm not really going to have you guys try any questions on your own because I think it'll take us too long. So I'm kind of counting on calling on you guys to help me during problems. So that was the distance ones. There's nothing more difficult to it than what we just did. You basically the hardest part is identifying what numbers is what. So the next part is actually 5.8 example 1. Point slope form. So writing equations means that there's different ways you can write the equation. Like the form is the way the final answer looks. And there's a bunch of them. There's standard form, slope-intercept form, point slope form, 2-point form. I mean, there's a bunch of them. So we're only going to cover the popular ones. So point slope form is another one of them. And point slope form is going to be y minus y1 equals the slope times x minus x1. Decia, do you think you could help me out? Here's the part that some people get confused at. There's a y and there's a y1, but there's not a y2. Do you know what's up with those? Like, what's the difference? Okay, how about y1? You probably know that one, right? Yeah, perfect. It's from the point. So y1 is from the point, x1 is from the point, and do you remember what the m was? That's slope. Slope. Okay. No, you did very good. Like I said, the whole reason I'm even bringing this up is because a lot of people, they look at it weird. So the y without a number and the x without a number stay this way. The ones without numbers are going to stay like that. They are not going to become numbers. You put a number in place of the y1 and the x1 and the m. The whole name of the form gives it away. You have 1 point and you have a slope. So those are the only numbers. So here's how a question would be written. I don't even know if I want to write out the whole problem because the directions are longer than the problem. The directions are to write the answer in point-slope form. If you're given the slope is 5/2 and it goes through the point -3, 0. So we're basically just going to like fill in these numbers. Callie, do you think you can help me out with this one? I was hoping you could tell me which numbers go in place of what. Correct, correct. How about the 0? Good. How about the 5/2? So m. Good. Perfect. And to be honest, that's our answer. We're just going to put those numbers in. So your answer is going to be y minus 0 equals 5/2 times x minus -3. If you want to leave it this way, you can. I bet an answer in a textbook, they're not going to write -0. And they're also not going to write minus negative. They'll write plus. So both of these answers are correct. That's a bad line. It's not wrong, but to be honest, we don't ever write mixed numbers. So I know they teach you to use the mixed numbers a lot in the past. For most of algebra, we don't ever write mixed numbers. So it's not wrong. I mean, I'm not going to mark it wrong if you do. Let me put, you know what? I'll have you guys try this one on your own. If the slope is -7 and it goes through the point 4, 2, why don't you guys see if you can write the answer in point-slope form? You know, take a minute to write that out. Have you guys ever used any like anonymous chat things in other classes? Like, do you know a website or something? Okay. If you guys do know an anonymous chat room that you've used in other classes, do please let me know, because there's like just a lot. I don't know if any are good or not, or easy. I have not called on... I've not called on Alex for a long time. Alex, do you think you can help me fill out this answer? And before I forget, Alex, I went and fixed that one quiz that you messaged me about. Oh, maybe. Are you there, Alex? Okay, AJ, are you there? Oh, okay. Fair enough. How about you, Austin? Is your microphone fixed? It works. Perfect. And that's done. You don't have to do anything else to it. I definitely have found that out with Chromebooks, especially like some days the stuff just doesn't work. Other days it does. And you kind of just got to go with it. There's zero reason on computers whether things should work sometimes and not others, but it just seems to happen. Okay, good. I mean, that was that whole topic. So we're going to move on to the next topic, which 5.7, this is where I said it shuffles all around. I'm only giving you this. The only reason I'm even writing this section of examples is if you ever want to look in the textbook. So this is on a different form. So this is called slope-intercept form. Now, luckily, the names of the form pretty much tell exactly what they're made of. This form has a slope and a y-intercept, because that's what its name is. I would say this is the most popular or common one. And, there's zero reason for it. It is. M is the same in every problem. It stands for slope. B is the y-intercept. So if you have the point 0b, you would just write the b number. And the x and the y stay as x and y. So the final answer should have an x and a y. So first example from this. If you are given slope is 1/3 and y-intercept is 6, we want to write the equation like that. And Caroline is the expert on this one. She's pretty much just going to tell us how to do this, unless she wants me to help her, and then I can. Nice. Very nice. 6. I realize this example was bad because my 6 looks like a B. Yes, B stands for the y-intercept. So what you said was perfect. That's it. Now, the questions are obviously much easier if these are the two numbers that you're given. You're not always going to be given those two numbers. So, yeah, it's absolutely a lot easier if you're just given the slope and given the y-intercept. You just write those numbers in. So I'm going to immediately go to an example where you're not just directly given those two numbers. Okay, so we have this picture. We need a professional here. We need somebody who's got it going on. Rocio, how about you? Can you be our professional and explain this mess? So very close. You absolutely had the right idea. So, yep. So slope is rise over run. So the number on top, it goes up 2 over 1. And then the number over here is the y-intercept. And so all you have to do is you basically look to see where the line crosses the y-axis. So very nice job. So the slope was a little bit harder because you had to count. You know, that's the hardest part apparently, you know. But otherwise, excellent job. So that would be how we would write it in slope-intercept form. You know what's even better is I went from A to C. You know, math is my thing, apparently, and alphabet is not. Now we put C. Okay, so this is the one that's usually annoying because it involves quite a bit more work than the other options. So right away you are told M, you know, which is great. So right away we know it's y equals 4x plus something. Logan, well, maybe we'll get your expertise before you have to go. What, this 2 and the 5, what do those numbers stand for again? Because they don't stand for B. They're not the intercepts, it's just an x and a y point. But yeah, you're correct. So what we're going to do is, normally we would call this x1, y1, but we don't need to. What we're going to do is we're going to put these numbers in place of x and y, because they're technically an x and a y. And we're going to use that information to figure out B. So this one definitely is the strangest out of these questions, because it seems like you're doing like the one thing I told you you shouldn't do, right? Like I said, this x and the y are going to stay. Well, we're going to write x and y in the final answer. We're just using the numbers to figure out B. And I can put a B instead of question mark. It's kind of your choice. But I'm going to solve for B. Okay, so Logan, while you're still here, now that I figured out B, what would I write as the final answer? Yep. You don't say plus B. You say, good. Very good. We basically had to do some extra steps to figure out B. Very good. Okay, I don't know how this is going for you so far. I'm going to guess a lot of this seems familiar, but you know, that's how it always feels. A lot of math always builds on other stuff. Does anybody have any questions on anything we've done so far? Okay, I will keep going then. And I'm going to do my best not to go all the way to the end, but we'll have to see how it goes. 5-7, example 1. This is on graphing. So we're going to graph using slope and intercept. Okay, so let's say you are given a slope of -2 and a y-intercept of 4. And to be honest, they probably won't even phrase it this way. They're probably just going to tell you to graph y equals -2x plus 4. That's probably what you'll be told. But it could be either one. So I'm going to make myself a little graph to start with here, which this is probably the most annoying part for you guys. And I fully get it. So if I draw a line with a slope of 2, it's going to look like this. Okay? The problem is, I don't know where to draw. Oh, nice. Come on back. Group. There we go. So if I draw a slope of 2, I don't know where to actually put it, because this line could be anywhere. The whole point of that plus 4, the y-intercept, is to tell us where to draw our slope of 2. So the first thing you're going to do, so I know some of you like steps. Graph the y-intercept first. So you're going to put a point on the y-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the y-intercept. That's the first thing you do. Then you're going to draw the slope from the y-intercept. So don't draw the slope from the middle, because that's a mistake some people do. You're going to draw a slope from that point. Now, our slope is -2. So I want to write the slope as a rise and a run. So I would write this as -2 over 1. Because if there's no bottom number, it's over 1. So from this point, I'm going to go down 2, because that's rise, and I'm going to go to the right 1, because a positive would mean to the right, negative to the left. Positive would mean up, negative would mean down. So I'm going to go down 2 to the right 1. and that's my second point. And then I can make my straight line from that. So that would be how to graph using slope and intercept. Just kind of curious. Have you guys done this before? Oh, I see, Alex. I didn't even notice that you wrote that stuff in there. Okay. So, I mean, like, because I can sit there and explain it a lot more. I just didn't know if you need me to. Because what usually happens in algebra is you've seen a lot of this in pre-algebra, in in eighth grade or whatever grade you took it, and so you're kind of semi-familiar. So absolutely, I'll just keep moving on if you guys recognize this, because it's usually easy once you figure it out. Okay. So I mean, this example probably would help you out. You could, Austin, you could. So if you wanted to, you could keep following the slope. From this point, I could go down to the right one again, and I could keep doing the slope repeatedly, and it would just keep making a straight line. So if you want to make it bigger, you absolutely can. I'm only going to require you to do 2 points, but I know some people like making it look nicer. And if you have graph paper, if you have graph paper at home, you could print out graph paper if you want, that kind of stuff too. Okay, well then I'll move on. 5-7, example 3. It's identical to what I just did. I'll just put up the hardest example. Okay, so this is where I disagree with the book. If I was asked to graph this line, I would probably graph it with intercepts. And I would do the finger method where I cross off one, cross off the other, and like when I look at this, the x-intercept is 8 divided by 3. So that's like 2 2/3. The y-intercept would be 4. And I would graph it that way. Now, the reason this question is in here is because some people hate graphing like this. And that's not an issue. That's not a problem. So if you prefer to graph like the example we just did, then what you're going to want to do is solve this for y. So I would subtract 3x, and then this would say 2y equals 8 minus 3x, and then you're going to divide by 2. Now I taught this method to you guys yesterday because I knew that we would have it coming forward, and so this shouldn't look new to you, but that's where you would have seen it. So y equals 4 minus, and then 3 and 2 don't divide, so I'm going to just write it as 3 and 2. And so you can graph from here, where I know my y-intercept is the number by itself. I know my slope is the number on the x. And so I can graph it that way. Where some students have trouble is when there's multiple ways to do a problem. It can feel confusing because when you look at it, It's not like you know exactly what to do. So if there's multiple ways to do something, part of it is you kind of have to make a decision yourself on how you want to do it. So if you want to do them all the same way, you can. Like if you always want to solve it for y, you can. And this is the way a lot of people do it. Well, you would graph the y-intercept first, where I would go up to 4, which was pure coincidence. It was the same as the last one. And then from there, I would graph the slope. So I would go down 3, to the right 2. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And this is kind of like what Austin asked in the last one. If it makes you feel more comfortable, you can do it a couple times. And so then you have kind of a more exact, better line. Especially because I can't draw lines to save my life. So that would be this line. I'll ask if anybody has questions, but I know you guys are just going to be silent anyway. Honestly, this one is pretty much just like this one. It's just like a harder version of the same one. So if your equation doesn't say y equals, you can make it say y equals and graph it the same way. And then this will be the last example here. And I appreciate you guys have been very patient here, because this is just a lot to cover. So 5.8 example 2. Using point slope to graph. So remember how I said the way that your equation is written, there's different ways to write equations. So let's say you're given y minus 1 equals 3x minus 1. And we're told to graph it. What you're supposed to recognize is this is point slope form, because the way that you have a number on the y and the x and a number multiplied in front of a parentheses. So I'll get my graph written, and then I'll call on somebody here to help me with this last little part. Perfect. Sophie, I don't think I've called on you today. Do you think you could help me out with the last little bit? Point slope form has two things. It has a point and it has a slope. The slope is the easiest probably to answer. What's the slope of this equation? Yep, good. And how about the point? So this was the hard part. So remember that the way point slope form is written, it's supposed to be y minus y1. So the formula has a minus in it, so the number itself is actually just 1. So that was the harder part to catch. So it would be the point 1, 1. But very good, very good. And then the slope, it's not written as a fraction, so I'll write it as a fraction. And it's a positive 3, so that would be up 3. It's a positive 1, so that would be right 1. So it's rise over run. So instead of graphing the y-intercept first, I'm just going to graph the one point that I was told. I was told the point 1, 1. And then I know the line goes through that point. And then I know my line has a slope of 3. So I can go up 3, to the right 1. And then now here's probably where you might remember it from before. So you could graph it from here because we have 2 points. But you definitely wouldn't. You wouldn't go up 3 and to the right again because it's like off the graph. So you can also do the completely backwards. Instead of going up 3, 1 right, you can go down 3 left, 1. So you can do them backwards and it still works. So I could put another point right here. And that's still a positive slope. Oh, it must be near the end of the hour. My cat woke up. And then that would be the line. Okay, yeah. I mean, like, I have more examples. I don't want to suck up too much of your time because I get how it can be time consuming having to do notes together and then do homework afterwards. So I think I'll stop it here because I think that's a pretty good set of examples for you guys to use to help you with your homework. Don't forget there's notes saved for you, there's videos saved for you, and then I upload the video that we take together as well, so there's lots of resources, just time is usually the problem. So, I'll stay on here if you guys have some questions. Otherwise, I think we can be done for the day. I'll see you guys tomorrow, I guess. I appreciate you being patient. Thank you.